name is Amber, and today is Sunday, April 19th, and I am here doing my trial run for my communication speech class today. This is how many people I'm supposed to have is 12 plus people in my public speaking today that I'm supposed to do for you. So we are going to count off and make sure we have 12 plus people.
1, 2,
3, 4, 5,
6, 7, 8,
9, 10,
11, 12,
13,
14,
15, 16, 17,
18, 20,
21,
22.
So we have 22 today in my trial run public speaking that I'm going to do for you today. So we're going to start comparing a Windows-based computer on why you should buy a Windows instead of an OS computer-based. Well, for number one, it's cheaper than Apple. We know that Apple always has a higher cost in it. Also, Apple will cost you 2 or 4 times more than a comparable Windows-based computer will cost you. Did you know that it was also cheaper for you to get a Windows-based computer than it is to get an OS X Apple model computer or cell phone? The Windows-based computers and cell phones actually have cheaper unit parts to them, so they're cheaper for the manufacturer and the company to buy for their customers to be able to have parts for whatever they need for maybe like their cell phone or their laptop, desktop, computers. There's so many sources for Windows and Apple. There's just like it's really hard to compare these two. Also, like there's a lot of places that you can buy a Windows computer that you can't buy an Apple. Like you can go to Walmart and pay like half the price you would pay for an Apple computer versus a Windows computer. Also, another thing is most of these parts are really hard to get for an Apple computer. If you get a Windows computer, you can easily go to Micro Center in Overland Park and get parts that are half the cost of the Apple product for, say, a laptop or an Apple 6 cell phone that may have broke, or maybe you need a power cord for your laptop for an Apple computer. Those things are really expensive to buy versus a Windows computer. The variations of these things are like outstanding. There's such a big difference between Apple and a Windows-based computer. There's so much, and there's so much comparison that needs to be separated between the two, so it makes it easier for us as customers or anybody else that wants to buy a Windows or an Apple computer. There's also lots of different software for both of these computers or laptop of some sort or a cell phone of either one of these that you may want to invest in. Softwares are pretty expensive depending on what type you buy. Like for, say, you buy an Apple based software, there is a lot of expenses that go into it. It's not very cheap. Windows has a lot of people using it because it has standard offices like Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Outlook, PowerPoint. There's so much more that Microsoft has than I believe that Apple has. Many resources for help if you have problems with your Windows-based computer. You can go to like Geek Squad, or you can go to a local person that does freelancing work for computers. They know more about Microsoft Word machines that will be more able to suit your needs to get your computer fixed and back on the go cheap and faster than what an Apple. Sometimes the Apple products you'll have to go down to like the Apple store which is like down on the plaza. And if you don't have insurance, it can be very, very expensive, like highly expensive. And not only that, but you have to make an appointment, and it's very hard sometimes to get in there because lots of people like Apple just as much as they like Words and Outlet and so forth type of software on their computers or even their phones, because now phones have Microsoft Word and Outlet and so forth. There's also a bunch of apps that are going back and forth between Apple and Windows, like Windows Phone. Now there's a Windows Phones out there. Everybody loves Windows, so they're going to go get that. But some people like the GarageBand app on the Apple phones, and they like it on their computers, and they like how the software is easier for them than it is versus maybe a Windows 7 or a Windows 8 computer or cell phone. Also, the hardware on Apple controls everything, so there's not like you can't change it as much as you can change like Microsoft computer, because you know they have their own base, and it's not open for people to want to change it and go buy a laptop from Microsoft and change it to where if you go and buy a Apple, you can't change it because there's only one. There's not, like, that's the only bad part about Apple is they have their one component, and that's more and more different parts are used for both Apple and Windows. So normally most of customers nowadays are going to go for the cheaper instead of Apple. So my conclusion today with both products is that Microsoft is always going to be cheaper on parts. It's going to be cheaper to buy, whether you want to buy a laptop or you want to buy a cell phone. Parts you can get anywhere versus Apple. So my conclusion today, and the winner will be Microsoft. Today is my answer for you to know which product you should either buy. Thank you.
Take a bow.